All right, welcome to another marketing roundtable. Fantastic to see you all here. Today we're going to be talking about the power of one. The kind of format for today is that we're going to be rocking and rolling the first kind of 15 minutes. I'm going to share you a few ideas, something that has really helped me in terms of my to foster some chat, to foster some conversation, to spark some ideas and interest this morning. And then afterwards, we're going to kind of roundtable some of those ideas and ask questions, give information, give your thoughts in it. Great to see new people here today and also some regulars popping in. Fantastic to see you all. And let's just rock into the presentation. So here we go. Let's share my screens here. So welcome. Come on. There we go. Good stuff. The gremlins aren't there. So we're going to talk about what's your one thing here. So the One Thing book is a book that I came across in 2017, 18, something along those lines. Read it just, when you kind of read a book right at exactly the right time for you. And at that time, I was in a place where I was so ridiculously busy. I had loads of businesses going on, and my world looked like this. My energy was going in all these different directions. I had multiple businesses, and those businesses had multiple products that they sold, multiple marketing funnels they had, multiple teams that were part of that business. And I was trying to kind of build a portfolio business, and God knows I've heard so many people talk about multiple streams of income and you can't rely on each one, etc. And it's really interesting because whenever I now review those types of people, and many of you would have heard me talk about the value ladder, start with something free, something a bit more expensive, so bronze, silver, and gold type product. And anybody you look at that's created all those things, usually what's happened is that they've either had one business that did incredibly well, and that then was rock and rolling. They kind of completed that, popped out of that business, and then they started to add other stuff onto it. Or they had one product that did really well, and then once that product sorted, then they added extra products. So it never tends to be that everybody builds it all at the same time, and that's what nobody tells you. And so if you find yourself that you're working on multiple projects and none of those projects are winning, you actually find yourself losing on all fronts. And that's the key problem. And that's what I realized when I read The One Thing. It really helps you think about putting your energy into one thing, one place, one system, and knowing what that road is and actually going down that. I was running my marketing agency, Yom, which was a business that we scaled 28 staff, over $1 million in revenue. And it was going great. But bloody hell, that was a lot of work. But then also I was doing a radio show for BBC Surrey that I was having to prepare for, and also another one for BBC for Brooklands Radio. I was running a boiler servicing business that we were scaling from a couple of vans on the road to over $1 million revenue when we finished scaling that business. We were running this web development support company called WPA, which was a bit of a spin-off business because we saw an opportunity where we had our agency doing one bit, and then we thought we'd spin off and do a separate little small support subscription-based web development company. And then I was starting, although it wasn't called at the time, but I was starting my coaching journey, which ultimately became the $1 million sprint where we are today. Can you see how bloody crazy my life would have been trying to run all of those businesses at the same time? It's just too much going on, too many projects, and within those businesses, multiple different things going on. And so therefore the energy is always pushed all over the place. And actually what happens is that you're trying to put out fires instead of actually really put growth in. And that book came across, and actually I ended up going on a retreat. I went to Austin, Texas for a bit of a retreat, and about a goal setting retreat, and went through this whole concept. And actually, if you can think of your journey, think of that one line and energy as a single set of dominoes, then you've got to plot those dominoes from where you want to head to where you are today. And actually, what are those different steps along the way to be able to get to that? And so by knowing that, by actually seeing the different elements you've got to do, you've got to line it all up. So you actually figure out what is the one thing you can do today to be able to take you one step further to your goal. And I really love that concept. It talks about in the books these lies that people talk about. So these lies, multitasking is actually a good idea. You know, people can multitask. Well, it's a lie, because if you ever find yourself when you're trying to work on one thing and then the phone goes off and someone asks you something, you get pulled to another thing, and then suddenly you got to go back to the other thing. How long does it take you to get back into the swing of that thing? So multitasking is such a fallacy. It also talks about the fact that everything matters equally, which again is a lie. Obviously, prioritize. You know, there are so many things on a to-do list, right? But actually, none of those things on to-do list matter equally. There'll be one thing on there that's the most important thing for you to do, and so therefore, really focusing there. Talk the lies about how a disciplined life is a lie, and that's really interesting, because you think, oh well, actually, if you had a real disciplined schedule where you would go, you wake up in the morning at a certain time, you've got your morning routine, you then work for an hour or whatever, you do this, and actually the concept of a disciplined life, they're saying, is not as productive as you would like, because actually, strangely, if you've got your one thing, you're in the groove, you need the ability to really just double down on it. And if you're not feeling it, then you also need the ability to come back out. And so sometimes putting a discipline in place can be actually over regimentation of your focus, and you can't focus as well within that. And there's some psychology around that as well, which I thought was quite interesting. Another thing that I picked up from there is that this willpower can be called at will. So that the idea of going yes, no, and if you say you're on a diet, and at the end of the day, someone goes, well, would you like a dessert? And if you've just had a crazy day and you're completely like decision fatigue, then you might be like, oh, stuff it, I'll go for it. Or you're trying to be too regimented and you're like, I'll do it. And willpower by the end of the day is kind of not, you don't have the ability to pull on willpower as much as you do at the start of the day. That's because you have, let's say, a certain amount of willpower points in the day. So say you got 10 points. And if you are having to make decisions, do things, focus on things, actually trying to, stay regiment, or stay kind of disciplined, if you like, then you are using up all your willpower points. So the concept is to try and it's like that Eat That Frog, the Brian Tracy book, where he says, do the biggest, hairiest, scariest thing every single day at the beginning of the day, and then you've got your big thing done. So don't expect yourself to have the ability to have willpower at the end of the day, because it actually drains, you get drained out. So if you do have to do things that are big, important, and sometimes complicated, try and do them first, and therefore you'll get them done. And the other thing about work-life balance, so we will talk about work-life balance, which I thought was fascinating. So he's saying that any businesses he's grown, you've got to remember, this is Brian Keller, who's the author of the book, who he has grown the largest estate agency firm in the US. It's a big Keller Williams estate agency firm, and they're coming over to the UK. I've seen a few actually recently, and it's, he's a billionaire, massive ranch, and ridiculously wealthy. And it's talking about work-life balance. How actually do you have work-life balance? And what he says is that actually it is a bit of a fallacy. And so their approach to work-life balance, when you're a high performer, when you're a billionaire, this is kind of billionaire work-life balance, is that everybody thinks work-life balance should be like this lovely little thing like this. Whereas he's saying it's more like this: work, 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 and then lots more kind of that. So you have you do a deep dive work stuff. It's what tends to happen, but then just make sure you balance it with some decent life stuff. And so that tends to be more what happens in high performance and big business growth, which I thought was quite interesting. Good point. So I guess the point being is that you just need to make sure that if you are going to be doing this, then you need to make sure that you don't forget about this, and your work-life balance just becomes work with a little bit of life, right? So that's kind of the concept there. Really, really nice, interesting here. There's just a final slide on this, and I'm going to give you some impractical stuff that you guys can do from this. But then how do you create the results? Well, they talk about the high performers out there, they live with purpose and priority. So this kind of purpose, if you know exactly what you want, where you're going, then you can start to prioritize stuff. And if you prioritize stuff, then you're going to be productive. right? And then how do you do that? Well, you ask the question, what is the one thing I can do today? Such by doing that, everything else will be easier or unnecessary. And that's basically finding what they call is the lead domino, finding that first thing to do. So, I mean, bloody cool, right? So if you kind of think about the world as this, you know, if you can get, this is the iceberg. So if you want profit and you want to be productive, then you need to be able to prioritize what you've got to do. And that priority is going to be based upon your purpose, which is the main thing there. And so let's just go back to a nice little drawing. So if you can think about, where's my little dashboard going? You start to think about, well, actually, what is the thing that I want? And if anybody has been on my session here, where I talk about doubling your income and working half the time, we talk about what is the result. And so how do you find that result? Well, actually, it's a result based upon how much money do you want per month, right? And what would that money per month actually mean? So if you wanted to have, you know, certain holidays, you know, kids in private schools or houses or, you know, cars or whatever it is, like all the nice things in life that you've always wanted, actually, what is the number? What is the figure that you need to take home? And I'm not, everybody's not money driven, but I'm talking about to achieve the life that you want, there will be a number. Doesn't matter how woke you are, you still will have a necessity to be able to afford whatever the lifestyle is that you want. So if you don't know what that figure is, then you're never going to be able to actually work out what it is you need to earn to be able to achieve that after tax, right? And so once you know that will be your purpose, because actually you know that if you are there, then you've got the financial target you can do, which allows you to do these things, which is kind of the purpose in your life, or what the bit is that you want to do in your, you know, your lifestyle. That's the whole point, right? And so then you've got the bit where you are now, right? And so essentially this becomes the journey to be able to get there. And these have got different dominoes that are along the way that will kind of let you go from each kind of target along the way. So it might be things like, you know, it could be switch job, could be set up a new business, could be, you know, sell off a few other businesses. For me, it was sell off businesses. And those were different steps that I could take, which were logical steps to be able to get to what my end result, what my goal was. And so therefore, when I ask the question, what is the one thing I can do today, such by doing it, that makes anything else irrelevant or it doesn't matter? It's this, because that's the first domino. And then tomorrow, when I ask the same question, if that one hasn't fallen over yet, I do that. If it has fallen over, then I do that. And then I do that. And I do that. And that's just having the road laid out ahead of you. That's having purpose. Really, really, really important. And I love it. So if you have not focused on those, well worth focusing on. Anyway, it's always nice to think about that. So practically, how do we put that in place? So we talk about the power of one so much within the $1 Million Sprint. We talk about this funnel being the funnel that everybody needs to build. You need to build one way of getting people aware of you. And you need to be bloody good at that and go deep dive. What do I mean by that? Well, what if you just focused, forget every single social media channel, and just focused on LinkedIn? I'm not telling you LinkedIn is the only one you should focus. It could be Facebook, could be TikTok, could be, you know, God knows what else, right? YouTube. But if you just focused on one, could you imagine all of your time just went deep on that? So for example, my clients that go deep on LinkedIn, just carry on with the example of LinkedIn, they have a LinkedIn newsletter, which is getting massive amounts of subscriptions, great reach. They're using LinkedIn events, going really, really well. They're posting every single day. They're using LinkedIn groups. They're doing automations. They're doing a ton of stuff within LinkedIn because they've gone deep, not wide. And so therefore, they're one place that they make awareness happen. They're superstars and they're getting loads of leads from it. Now, once you've got that awareness, then how do you then move that awareness? So people now know you on LinkedIn. Cool. How do you move them down your funnel? Well, you need to have one thing to make them consider you. So we talk about having a weekly moment. What do we mean by a weekly moment? It could be that you release a podcast every single week where people can listen to it and consider how cool you are. You could be doing an event like this, where people come along and actually are part of a presentation and they can ask questions, you can interact. Could be the fact that you put out a live on something. Could be the fact that you publish a YouTube video on something. It's having that one place where you can actually really, really focus, right? And that's where people then consume more of you. Then convert afterwards. So then you go, well, what is the one thing that you're going to ask people to do to help them to convert? So once they come and listen to your podcast, you're going to say to them something like, hey, if you've enjoyed listening to this podcast today, I offer a complimentary coaching session, for example, that you can all jump onto. And all you need to do is go to this link and you can jump onto this coaching session, right? That's the one place that you're bringing people into to actually be able to sell them. Power of one. LinkedIn into your weekly moment, into your coaching session. It's optimized. You don't have multiple, funnels. You don't have multiple offers, because what are you going to sell? You sell the one product. Don't sell bronze, silver, and gold, because you've got to deliver 3 different types of things to 3 different types of people. Don't try and sell to multiple people, sell to one product. And so therefore, when people buy that one product, you can be awesome at it, and you can have a whole system to delight them, create wow moments in that one product. You can then gamify that one product, so then the people are winning your product. So if then people are delighted and winning your product, then what are they going to do? They're going to be advocates of your product, and an advocate will tell other people about it, and they'll say, hey, I bought that one thing off of Matthew Williams, it was amazing, and bam, I'm now going to buy more of it, right? I am an advocate of it. And so then people just keep on pushing around. It optimizes your life and it gets things streamlined. Now, yes, that's a lovely little graphic, but how do we pick that out into reality? Well, you would put together, this is the kind of work that we do with our clients, we put together a funnel diagram thinking about how this works. So if you think about LinkedIn, that is the one place that you want people to go into. The educational event. So what do you need to build? So LinkedIn, you've got like an organic campaign. So what's the content putting out in there? You've got an outreach campaign. So you're inviting more people into it. You've got some sort of educational event landing page that you need to build out. You're going to deliver that through Zoom. You're going to have to do email reminders to get people along to it. Once people come along to it, maybe do a little phone call to get them into a strategy session, something, or you do an email. Do you see how you build out all these assets? Once you do that strategy session, you need to have a flagship landing page to tell people about the one product. And then once they do that, you might then have another call just to double check that they're interested in it, sign contracts. You formalize the plan. And so that, my friends, becomes the dominoes that you're going to then start to line up. And you start on the left, and the first dominoes you've got to knock over is to create awareness, because that's at the top of that funnel. Awareness, considered, convert, right? So the first thing that we do in those dominoes, you knock over the ones on the left. Once you've got the plan, you then deliver against the plan. You create awareness first so people know you. You then create the consideration events so people can consider actually you being the person they want to buy from. You then give them the opportunity to come along to some sort of sales conversation where they actually do think seriously and buy from you. You then deliver the one thing. That is how you scale a business to $1 million in revenue, genuinely, by just lining up those dominoes. Cool. We know because our clients are getting results. These are the type of results from the clients that are working with us. People are making sales of what we call their flagship product. The word flagship products is basically creating the one product for you. I like this one. This is Lilac, who sold her first flagship product program, 3K. Now she's got to build it. Do you know why? Because she did awareness, consider, convert first before she actually built the flagship product. Now she's building it live with other clients, right? Cool. There's different things in there. So that's that. And we've got other clients. This is our roadmaps. When we're talking about roadmaps, you can actually take this concept of this journey to get people to a result, and you can make it into what your flagship product is. This is what our flagship product is. Our clients, my skill set, having done it twice with other businesses, is to help people to be able to scale to $1 million revenue, right? So our concept is to get people to that Hall of Fame, £84,000 per year, right? So that's my North Star for my clients. And so most of my clients start without having a concept properly for a scalable business. And so they start in what we call the preliminaries. And we help them to go through this journey, these dominoes that they knock down to be able to go through the different heats and then get them up into the gold medal race and into the Hall of Fame, right? So the journey is laid out. And so you can lay out your journey yourself for yourself, but also when you think about your product, what journey are you laying out for your customers? Is there a way that you can use this same power of one for them? Cool. And then, people do get it. These are people that have gone on that journey and they hit the result. These are people that have got their Hall of Fame award. These are our $1 Million Hall of Famers. So you can see how that works. Cool. So that's kind of for now, all I'm going to say about that, let me just come back into the share and open this up for conversation. So yes, all right, I was talking a little bit about, you know, how we can help people, but what the whole point of that presentation is to help you to think, have I got that result? Have I got that focus? Do I really know where I want to go to? And therefore, can I make a plan today to get there? Or am I kind of, you know, there's that saying, isn't there, that if you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there. So what road are you treading? Do you know where you're going? Interesting. Thoughts, gang, feedback, interesting things that they've seen. Just let's throw it in. Let's round table some of these ideas into the room. Feel free to unmute yourself and go.
For me, I do have one thing, one thing only, but I like that layout of how you then put the roadmap to it, because that's the bit I've struggled with. So I do storytelling, and it's that's what I do. I help you build your story. That's clear. Then it was like, okay, I'm very clear on that bit. I'll just wander around the desert a bit now, see if I can find an oasis. So yeah, building that road is, I find, hard.
Yeah, it is. I mean, are you clear on actually what it is that you're going towards?
I'm clear on what the product is.
Yeah.
And I'm clear on what that looks like. I think the bit that's fuzzy for me is whether I'm going to take a train, a bus, or a train, you know, or all three. And I'm not sure whether I'm heading for France or for Spain or for, and it is that end bit that I'm, it's a bit of a mirage at the moment about what that end bit clearly is.
I love it. Do you want me to help, Beth? So actually, I don't know if you came along to this session. I've got the recording here. Let me just find it for you, and I'll share it in the chat so everybody can kind of see it. It was around this double your income, work half the time. It's a lovely little presentation. We do run it periodically at this round table, but in this session here, and just click on this link, gang, and just stick it in the keep it on a browser tab for you to be checking out later. But you see here, we talk about the first half of this, what's your target income goal, right? And so here's a spreadsheet that you can click on the resources that looks at what the different revenue streams are and what you've got to do. So here's all the target income goals and what you want to achieve. And this is my one. By the way, I love just sharing complete open and honest stuff. So it's complete transparency. So this is my one. And you see here down at the bottom, that's the total amount per month that I need to be able to take home after tax to achieve this, what used to be ideal lifestyle now is reality, that you just go through each bit. And I did this when I went on to that session, when I went away to Austin, Texas to go to the one thing. And this was this is the thing that I went along. And so you can see here, that was the end result. So actually my business I take home 50% of revenue of my business. And I talk about in the presentation, how do you actually do that? And so therefore my target monthly revenue for my business is 34K. So my business would need to be turning over 413,000. Well, I feel very privileged to say that we are turning over more than that. So it's nice to have had that target, to be able to focus on what that is, to line up all the dominoes onto that, and to be able to knock them down all the way until being able to hit that. And so that becomes a really lovely project. Now, the nice thing about it there, once you hit that, then you start to create another goal and you line up some more dominoes. But if you don't start to put these things in place and work towards them, then it will never be happen. If you don't have a plan, then it's all just bloody guesswork, isn't it? And you're meandering around in a circle. You're like a boat, that's just kind of broken one of its rudders and just going round.
Yeah.
And so that is a really lovely piece and a presentation for you guys to look at in there. I'll tell you what, guys, if you want to spend some time to go through this, I'm more than happy to do that with you guys in a little small group. I do these presentations each week. And let me just quickly show you. I'll just chuck this in the chat, and then I'll take another question. If you want to go through how this could work and what your North Star is and where you're going to, and actually how this could work, we do this free strategy session. Smaller group. It's about 4 to 5 people, and it's 90 minutes, but usually slightly less. And you can come into here, you can book a strategy session here. So it was on my website. You just literally click on this link and you'll find here, there is some space today. We do it 12:30 every Wednesday. And let me just chuck that in there. Bam. So it's in the chat now. Just jump on that and go in. You simply go into here. You can see there's one a week. It's only one opportunity a week. It is my one time, right? So I drink my own Kool-Aid, right? So this is my weekly moment, and this is my one strategy session. Now, there's no obligation. There's no hard selling there, so don't worry. Do not worry. But it's the ability for me to spend time with a smaller group to do more actual focus. So you just jump onto those and book that now in there, because I'd love to see each and every one of you into one of those and to be able to spend more time with you. So that is how you kind of find out what your North Star is. Let's go back into the room and take some other thoughts or opinions on this, or if anybody that's kind of been working on goal setting and growth. Over to you guys, go.
Good morning,
Samantha.
Richard.
Yes, good morning.
Hi, good morning. Hi, everyone.
Oh, sorry,
Okay.
I didn't go. Who's first? Go for it. Samantha, go for it.
Cool. So I started thinking about things very differently. So rather than thinking of things in terms of my business and what I want my business to do, I'm thinking in terms of what I want my business to allow me to do. So if I get my lifestyle sorted, then my business has to then support my lifestyle, which has made it really easy then to put products and services in place that support that and just focus on them things and get rid of all the other things that would distract me from that path.
I think that's really smart. So when you say get your lifestyle in order, so you set targets personally around that, or just expand out?
Is to have a complete laptop lifestyle. I mean, I'm a personal trainer, nutrition coach, but rather than doing personal training, I'm a body alignment specialist as well. So I can do all those things and I can do them sporadically. I don't need to keep advertising and doing them and getting one-to-one clients because it's quite draining.
Yeah.
I can do nutrition coaching online, so I can do that anywhere in the world, and I can do that if I'm on holiday and I feel like I want to take clients there. That's cool. But I can also do workplace workshops. So if I want to go and live anywhere in the world, I can kind of line up workshops to go and do like 2 or 3 afternoons a week work and have the rest of the week off. And that's kind of the way that I'm priority in my life at the moment is what work do I need to do to be able to work only the hours that I want to work, so that I can do the best possible job with my work, but also feel like I'm having a life too.
Yeah, I think that's really smart. Well, one of the things that I talk to anybody when they're a thought leadership type business is having this scalable flagship model, and we look at the different ways that you can approach that. And I think you will find, you'll be someone that's done one-to-one stuff before, and you'll find yourself repeating yourself over and over when you're doing one-to-one work, and also it's very draining. It's very just one-to-one, and so therefore, can you create some sort of online platform? Can you then maybe run group programs instead of one-to-one programs? Can it all be online? And I think you're solving those problems now very smartly. And then the exciting thing about it is that once you've got that in place, then it's just get that awareness consider really churning, get that weekly moment working. Could you do like one nutrition workshop a week where everybody comes along to it, and therefore you see them all there and invite them along to a free kind of nutrition coaching thing where you convert them into your program, or even just use that as the webinar, like a webinar each week or something along those lines. Can you get that working? I'm going into workplace and doing it that way, so I get paid to do it. So once I'm gone. It's kind of I've done so much work for free over the years. Like I'm not doing it anymore unless I choose to. I don't want to feel like I have to do work for free anymore, because that's massively draining. As much as yes, we can enjoy what we do and enjoy sharing it, it's also massively draining. And I think many of us, especially over the last couple of years in COVID, have really not taken that into consideration, is how much that free work that we do actually leads to burnout. And it's not particularly healthy, and we're not, we might think we're coming about it in the right way, but we're actually not, because we're doing it to get clients. And actually that's the wrong reason to do it. If you're going to do free work, you're doing it just to share what you do. So again, I've turned marketing on its head for this year, and with everything that I've learned over the last few years, I've just decided, this is the way that I want my life to live. So this is what I need my business to do. So therefore, if that's what my business needs to do, this is how I need to set it up so that actually that becomes really, really viable. And it is, I've worked it out that I can do 2 or 3 afternoons a week
and have the rest of the time off, which means I can do CPD. If I want to go and do free stuff, I can go do free stuff, but feel good about it, not feel like I need to get clients as a result of it and all that kind of stuff. It's a much nicer space to work from.
Nice, good stuff. And exactly, it's different models and looking at this stuff, but knowing what your purpose is and knowing where you're heading and then working backwards from there, having a plan. I love it. Thank you so much. Thanks for sharing. Love that. Aisha, yes, how you doing?
Yes. Fine. How are you?
Hello, I'm very good.
Yeah, I was delivering my training, so I couldn't join many Wednesday sessions, but I'm here back.
Yes, great.
So,
good to see you.
Good to see you as well. My question is, Richard, I'm very active on LinkedIn, but I cannot have the engagement and also engagement for posts, engagement for events. But my other question is, what is your opinion? Because many people is thinking, maybe we are wrong, but LinkedIn is turning a little bit like Facebook, because the posts like about personal stuff, personal relations are having more engagement rather than authority building. So what do you think? So is there a shift?
I think it's all about actually what are you doing on LinkedIn? What is the strategy? Because the way that you build momentum on LinkedIn will allow you to actually create the engagement. So there's a couple of things. One is keeping your network growing, and two is having a content rhythm, a plan for it. So let me just give you a couple of ideas on what we would say. So as we mentioned, by having this week in consideration event, it gives you a bit of a focal point for your week. So say, for example, you're going to do a podcast or you're going to do an event, whatever it is, you have a consideration event. So we talk about having a Wednesday and having that consideration event. So that's going to be a high engagement type of event that you're going to put things out to. And you're going to have a link. You're going to put that out as a LinkedIn event. You're going to invite loads of people to it. You're going to get people to come along to that event, right? So what do you do on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday to really make an impact? So we said on Monday, well, why don't you do what we call an engagement creator? Sorry, my drawing's awful. Engagement creator on Monday. What that means is that polls on LinkedIn are amazing to create engagement. So if on Wednesday you're going to be doing, and just give me an idea of one of your what your business does or something. Give me a subject that you might talk about.
I'm supporting busy women professionals to stop juggling and start what they love to do in confidence. So I'm a coach and trainer. So.
Fantastic. So maybe why don't we do something like find your purpose? So find purpose, right, would be the event that you might do on Wednesday. How do you find your purpose or something like that? Or maybe it might be, productivity, whatever it is, right? The poll that you might do on Monday would be, are you following your purpose, right? Are you following your purpose, right? Yes, no. And so in there, you have loads of people going vote, right? So you now spike the algorithm on a Monday, and you're spiking the algorithm with something that's relevant that's for Wednesday. Then on Tuesday, what you do is you put out a promotion, because there's this alley-oop. In basketball, there's this thing called an alley-oop where someone throws it up in the air and the next person comes around and slam dunks it. And we kind of use that to explain how a post on LinkedIn works. So yesterday's reach will affect today's reach, i.e. if it's really big reach yesterday, then today's post already has got a leg up to be able to get reach. Now, normally promoting some sort of event on LinkedIn is not going to have such a great reach. But if you kind of don't give an outside link and instead you link to a LinkedIn event, it's going to help because you're not linking outside. And the second thing is, if yesterday had a really high engagement post, then these people are more likely to see it. And so they're going to see this post, which hopefully means that they're going to book this event because it was kind of relevant to that post. Plus, also other people in the feed will see it. So this creates the alley, and then this is the slam dunk to be able to get people to go and then register for your Wednesday session. You also can DM all these people that voted saying, hey, thanks for your vote. Did you realize on Wednesday I'm doing this event, right? So that says what we're doing on Monday and Tuesday. And therefore Wednesday, you then do another nudge to say, hey, we're doing this event. So you get the final people along. That means that you get people along this event. What do you do at this event? Well, you might pitch your kind of coaching session. We call that a test drive, by the way. So they're testing out how you work. So you've got your coaching session there, and they're going to test drive you. So you're pitching that, you get some people into there. Awesome. Then what are you going to do on Thursday? Well, you can say, hey, who wants the replay plus swipe file of, you know, what happened here, a swipe file or free resources or slide notes. So anybody that missed this is like me. And again, they get this replay, and then you push them into that strategy session as well. So that's awesome. We've now shown a great way of getting lots of people along to an event. So what do we do on Friday? Well, you want to add a bit of credibility. So we talk about share a win. So on Friday, you do share a win. Right. And so also on Friday, you do 2 posts. The next one would be then launching the event for next week. So next week. Now, Saturday, Sunday, we always say just do lifestyle posts if you want to, or do no posts. Refresh the feed, show a little bit of you, show some personality, work it through that way. Now, the trophy here, gang, is that you've now got a daily schedule that results in people coming to an event. And we always say that for our clients, this is the sort of stuff that we help our clients do $1 Million Sprint. We talk about 30, 20, 5, 2. So that is, if you can get 30 people to book onto your weekly moment, you should get at least 20 people showing up. If you get 20 people showing up, you should get 5 people coming onto your, your free coaching session or whatever it is. And if you do, you should get 2 sales, 30, 25, 2. That becomes your rhythm. That becomes the focal point. Now, if you then churn that out, that's 2 sales a week, 2 sales a week, that becomes predictable. And it becomes a machine, a mechanical, exactly how you want to be able to work it. And if you can then take this theme, these Wednesday themes, and we say do 13 of them, why 13? Well, 13 times 4 equals 52 weeks. So now you've got a whole year's content calendar with a daily plan every single day, with a yearly content calendar, and you can actually roll that out 2 or 3 years. Because although, yes, you are repeating every 14th week, I can't remember what I did at the weekend, let alone 14 weeks ago. So it doesn't matter. And of course, the way you present things are slightly different. So that's the whole point. I know that I mentioned this on most of the presentations, but I just wanted this to sink in. The type of thing that I'll show you how this kind of transpires with the clients that I coach. We have a content calendar, and we put together, I give them the template of my 13-week cycle. So here you go. Here's my 13-week cycle. And in here is literally Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and every single week of what it is. And inside every single one of those cards, you click on it, and here's all the stuff that we put out on the Monday to create the post that's the engagement creator post, which was around LinkedIn Organic. LinkedIn Organic. I click on this, and then this will take me to the post that we actually did. This would be like 5 months ago, whatever this post. It's an example. And you can see here, we said, fascinating to see if people will focus on LinkedIn as their primary platform, and then 219 votes. That's 219 hot leads for me to be able to follow up to say, hey, on Wednesday, I'm doing an event on LinkedIn Organic. Do you want to come along to it, right? And so, bam, 12,000 impressions. But that's an engagement creator. So it meant that week was really good because I started the week well, and people are thinking about the subject, and therefore I allied, and then bam, I slammed down with the content. Alley oop. So that is how you want to approach that. I'd be more than happy if, honestly, I'll say it one more time, take another question. But genuinely, that's the stuff that I want to go through in more detail at this session here. So if you haven't booked onto one of these sessions, I do have some spaces left. Thank you, by the way, for the guys that have already booked in, because I've seen there's a few people already booked in today. Literally since I last said it, that's the link again there in the chat for you guys to check out. If you're watching this on the replay, then obviously you just go onto my website, the top free replay, and do it. So we can go through what your 13-week cycle is going to be and look at that. Cool. Further questions, gang? Thank you, by the way, for all the interaction. I'm going to stick around for another 5-10 minutes after this today. I mean, officially we finished at 1:45, but there's some cool questions happening. I'm happy to hang out for another 5-10 minutes afterwards. But if you guys are shooting off, awesome to see you. But back into the room, let's ask some questions. Thoughts? Further thoughts, gang?
I've got a question. Where do you start?
Good to see you, mate.
Good to see you as well. I don't do any social media advertising at the moment. And obviously that's one of the reasons why I'm here. Where do you start?
So so I mean, it's a great question. So when I sit down with my clients, the way that we'll start is very much work out, do you know your target audience? First of all, because it's really important to know your target audience. Do you know what you're selling is in your flagship product? For you, Paul, I think you probably are very close to knowing that if you don't already know that already. Then once you know that, then it's a case of going, what would be the 13 different things, the crowd pleasers that my audience would actually be interested in? You list those out. And then once you list those out, you need to make sure that the titles are written in a way that are really interesting. And then you just start week 1, day 1, Monday, just post a poll. And if you don't feel confident to do an event that week, it's cool. At least you tested one of the 5 cards. The way that we work with our clients is that every single day is a micro project, and you just want to fill a card. We give our clients all the templates. We give them example emails that they just literally crop and cut and paste. Like, they get the entire piece to be able to just do it, right? If you're trying to do this on your own, that's fine. If you're a DIY Dave and you want to go and take some of these ideas and try and do this, I completely respect that. There will be people that want to do that. Obviously, it's a lot slower and not always going to work, but you just start as each day is a micro project. And the first day is, I've got to create some sort of engagement around the subject that's going to be ultimately the theme for that week. So if it's around, say, cybersecurity attacks, you might then go and do have you ever suffered a phishing attack? Yes, no, right? So bam, now people are actually self-identifying as being kind of people that understand what phishing are, and also are voting on that. So only really the people that care about that sort of stuff. I mean, I'm not sure that I would vote on that, but some people might do, right? And so bam, they vote it. Now you've got the ability to actually reach out to those people on Tuesday, micro project on Tuesday, to say, hey, I'm doing this podcast or this event, or I've got a live that I'm doing on Wednesday. Would you be interested to have the link? Cool, And so it's just it's domino by domino, step by step, card by card, you build it. Now, the beauty, Paul, is that after you've done the first 13 weeks, we say to clients that normally the first 13 weeks, you're trying it, you'll miss a couple of weeks, you'll go on holiday, whatever it is. The first 13 weeks, you kind of cobble it together. The second cycle, you perfect it. So we call it about try it, nail it. And then the third cycle, you automate it and delegate it. So all the different elements that you can do that you can put into automation, you do, right? And then also you put a person in charge of it, and that person then does the whole piece for you. So all of that stuff gets distributed. Your words get distributed for you, and you pop out the top of it. It's a wonderful thing. And you then only rock up to a nice full house every Wednesday where you're talking to lovely people about cybersecurity or technology, and you're finding your diary getting booked with sales conversations each week, and you're doing the presentations, you're doing the sales conversations, and you are growing. That's the trophy. So you never have to do it again after the second cycle. Some people get it right in the first cycle, so they never do it again after. If they have 13 weeks sprinted it, they get it supersonic and they never touch it again. Sometimes it needs someone to do it 2 cycles, but ultimately the trophy is this is complete. And the only time you stop, you will know when one of the weeks you've got to rework on, because if you come into a room like this and there's 5 people in there, then that tells you that if normally you have a full room, so you have normally 20 people on average in a room, and then one week you only have 5, you got to review what happened that week, and is it the subject matter that needs to change, and then you just sub out one of your 13 weeks and you replace it with a new one for the next cycle. That's it. The numbers don't lie. Now you're actually playing. I mean, you'll be a dashboard man. I mean, you're a technology man. So you'll know the importance of having a dashboard and being able to play at this thing like it's a machine. The problem is with when you're doing it all yourself, it's all very you'll remember when you first started, when it's all kind of like, oh well, you try a little of this and a little bit of that, and and actually the hardest thing in business to grow it is to do the boring stuff really well, and cycling content and churning this thing out as a machine becomes part of that. It's like process driven, done. And it's exciting because it works. And it is exciting because it's boring and predictable. And predictable for me is bloody exciting, because you only grow a business by it being predictable. There's nothing worse than like massive highs and massive lows, like, oh, we're doing so well, and oh, I haven't had a sale for 5 weeks, oh shit, and then I got a new client, and that's not fun. That's just like replacing, a job with stress. Whereas predictability is vital. So that's the game plan. Does that help, Paul?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Would you charge people for tickets and donate to charity or something? I've seen there's a place called Coffee and Machine in Oxford. I don't know if you've ever been there. You're a car person, but they charge you for the events, but then they will give you the money off the food. But they're guaranteeing a parking space as well.
Yeah.
But it gets people to arrive, because you've spent physical money. You really don't want to, I really can't be asked to turn up.
Yeah, I think it's all about, for me, it's about an online events. I feel the best. To do a physical event every single week would be more work, and I don't necessarily think you need to do it. A 45-minute session is enough to be able to depart people some conversation, foster some chat, get people thinking about stuff, that's the whole conversation. I mean, Samantha made the point that it's around actually, wanting to give back to the audience, and actually it's kind of around that, like just have it as a complete give, have it as a place where you want to just depart some knowledge, give people a feel for how you see the world. And give them the floor to be able to say how they see it, and then that's goodwill. You're putting just goodwill in the bank, and then the right people will then come and approach you afterwards and say, "Hey, Paul, that was awesome, mate. Really love your take on cybersecurity. I've got a 20-person office, and I'm not really happy with my tech guys. Could you come and have a look at it for me?" That's what you want to have the conversation afterwards. I'm more of Samantha. You have to apologize. I am a lead generator. I love growing businesses, and I am a little bit more cutthroat, I guess. But I completely take the point that you have. The whole point of a consideration event is it is given without expectation, but you open the door to the people that are actually interested in finding out a little bit more. And always keep the door open is what my opinion is. But we all have different sides of things. So yeah, does that help, Paul?
Yeah, definitely, perfect. Thank you very much.
Cool. I'm taking final questions. Anything's got anything on their mind before we, or anybody wants to give a concluding kind of thought as well? I'm happy to do that before we close today.
It would be interesting to notice the difference between extroverts marketing and introverts marketing, because it affects us very differently. I mean, I'm an introvert, which is why I've gone completely the way I have. It just makes more sense to me and feels better. I see extroverts marketing all the time the way that they do, and I love it, but I'm like, it's just not me. I can't do it. So I think we forget that actually different personalities need to market different ways, and that's okay too.
Do you know what? It's really interesting. So I consider myself an introvert. And it's an interesting thing, and the reason why I do that is because given the option to be on my own and spend some time just me and downtime, I need that. Now everybody would consider me an extrovert because I do jazz hands and do this sort of stuff, but that's and you'll find a lot of introverted entrepreneurs are the kind of the crazy. Look at Richard Branson, right? So he does all of those crazy stuff. Have you ever actually seen him present? He's not comfortable actually talking about business and actually presenting, but he understands the power of brand and marketing, so therefore puts himself out there with these marketing stunts. But he would consider himself introverted in many ways, and it's quite interesting that you'll see. I know speakers that speak on stage and then will literally run terrified of anybody wanting to have a one-to-one conversation with them because they can't do it. I used to get that. I came off stage, I'd be sweating, like nervous sweating, because like going from one silo to another silo is interesting. So what I would say, and don't get me wrong, like so what would my solution be when I have clients that come to me and say, actually, I'm not comfortable in this format? So it's not about having to create an event, it's creating a moment. That's what we call it the week. We don't call it the weekly event, we call it the weekly moment. So a podcast can be your moment. You can record a podcast in a dark room on your own, and that could be the best quality content you can create. I've got one, no, two clients that create a long form instructional piece of content, like a LinkedIn article with amazing depth on this piece of content. That is their moment. It's an amazing piece of blog content, and they repurpose that moment. So it's a LinkedIn article. It goes out as an email. It goes onto their website as a blog, so it's good for their SEO value. And that is the thing that they gear up to. You just need to have that piece of quality each week to give you a fresh opportunity to go and approach people and say, hey, did you see my thing? You know, what do you think of it? And hence why the moment's there for you. Cool. Well, look, I'm happy. You know, you can tell I love this. There's so much that we could go through. So if you guys haven't already, do jump on that strategy session. But look, I really, really, really enjoy doing these. So thank you all for your questions and your interaction. I really appreciate it. And can I just quickly say, because Flora's on this call, it's her 1 year anniversary with me yesterday. So congratulations to Flora for surviving for 1 year.
She hasn't left yet.
Yes, she was. She left. Actually, she left the call midway through. So I think she's having signal issues. But thank you to Flora for being for.
What's her? You've got literally 1 minute. What's her results?
What's her results? I'm not going to say that with her on the call we recorded. Very good, Paul, is the honest result. Very, very good. She does very well. So good to see you all. And Faye goes on the score. Well, happy work anniversary. Good to see you guys, and catch you on the flip side. Cheers. Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye.